Hey there YouTube, we're back again with another battery test. This is one that you've all been asking for. It's the Huawei Mate 9 versus the Huawei P9. Now we've also included another phone in this battery test. It's the iPhone 7 Plus. The reason for this is we've seen it in the comments quite a bit, the Huawei Mate 9 versus the iPhone 7 Plus. And also this time last year we did the iPhone 6s versus the Huawei Mate 8. So this time we want to see how the battery's doing on these two brand new phones. Now our battery test comes in 4 stages. We have an hour and a half of web browsing, followed by an hour and a half of YouTube streaming, then there's another hour and a half of gaming, and the whole thing finishes on an hour and a half of video playing from the phone's memory. So let's jump into it. So a little bit about the spec of these phones. We have the Huawei Mate 9, which has a 4000 mAh battery. It's a full HD screen, 5.9 inches. We then have the Huawei P9 with a 3000 mAh battery, but a much smaller screen at 5.2 inches. The iPhone 7 Plus, however, has a 2900 mAh battery that's powering a 5.5 inch Full HD display. At the end of the web browsing part of our test, the Huawei P9 and the iPhone 7 Plus are neck and neck at 63 and 64% of their battery left over. The Huawei Mate 9 is smashing it right now with 71% of its battery left in the tank. At the end of our YouTube part of the test, we have the Huawei P9 dropping off. It only has 24% of its battery left over. The iPhone 7 Plus has 31% and the Huawei Mate 9 is doing great here at 47%. Now we're on to Real Racing 3. At the end of the gaming part of our test, we've lost 2 phones. The Huawei P9 died off first at 3 hours and 37 minutes. The iPhone 7 Plus lasted quite a bit longer, but died at 4 hours and 20 minutes. We only have 1 phone left. Let's see how long the Mate 9 lasts for. It didn't make it that far into this part of the test, but the Mate 9 died at 4 hours and 41 minutes. So there you have it, the Huawei Mate 9 won the test, but let's talk about the Huawei P9. It did absolutely awful in this test. It is not good at all. If you watch our big smartphone test, which you'll find just here, you'll realise that this did about an hour less than most of the rest of the phones. It did the same kind of score, even less actually, than the iPhone 7, which we kind of panned in that test because it was just not good enough. Don't go for the Huawei P9 if you need a phone for good battery life. Now, if you do need a phone from Huawei, go for the Huawei Mate 9. It may look like good battery life in this test, but if you compare it to other previous phone tests that we've done, it isn't that great. It's getting a similar score to other Android phones. And considering this is a phablet, we kind of expect a better battery life from the Mate 9. Now, if you need something of an iOS flavour, make sure you go for the iPhone 7 Plus. It's a lot better than the iPhone 7, and it only did about 20 minutes less than the Huawei Mate 9 in this test. So that's the end of our battery test. Now, personally, I found the Huawei Mate 9 to have quite impressive battery life. I was getting through to the end of the day and still having a little bit left over in the tank. So if you're still planning to buy a Huawei Mate 9, let us know just down below. Also, let us know what other phones you want to see go through our battery test video. We want to know whatever phones, we'll try and get them in and we'll try and put them through the test. Now, around me right now, you're going to find some other videos. Soon, we're going to have a OnePlus 3T speed test. I know a lot of you are looking for that, so that should be up in the next week or so. Thanks for watching, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you again soon.